in a village surrounded by ancient trees and winding roads. Life used to move slowly, rhythmically, like the ticking of a clock. People knew each other by name, by voice, by scent. It was a place where reputation mattered more than wealth, and where your family name could open or close every door. My name is Zara. I was born into a family that was respected, maybe even admired. My father was a builder, not of towers or palaces, but of homes, schools, temples, spaces filled with love, laughter, and memories. He taught me how to read blueprints before I could solve an algebra problem. My mother was the soul of our household. She stitched together torn uniforms, cooked meals for people who couldn't pay, and smiled even when her eyes carried exhaustion. My younger brother, Zion, was still a boy, full of dreams and questions about the world. We lived simply, but proudly, until everything was taken from us. My father had built his company from the ground up. His brother, my uncle, worked alongside him, or so we thought. But envy is a poison that doesn't shout. It whispers, it infects slowly, like a sickness in the bloodstream. My uncle wanted more money, more control, more recognition, but instead of earning it, he plotted. For years, he manipulated documents, bribed officials, created fake accounts, and slowly rewired the company's operations behind my father's back. He was smart. No, cruelly brilliant in how he planned it. The day the police came knocking, everything fell apart in minutes. They accused my father of fraud, money laundering, and tax evasion. They froze our assets. The business collapsed overnight. People who once sat at our dinner table refused to make eye contact. Some even said, "We always suspected something wasn't right." That broke me. I remember my father sitting on the floor, hands in his hair, asking, "What did I do wrong, Sarah?" I had no answer. My mother cried herself to sleep for months, holding onto a pillow like it was a life vest. Zion stopped talking to anyone. And me. Something in me cracked open. I didn't weep. I didn't beg. I made a promise, quietly, to myself. I will not forget, and I will not forgive until we rise again. We moved out of our home, the one my father built, himself brick by brick, and found a small flat in the city. No beds, just mattresses on the floor. No savings, no support, just the four of us and the storm outside. That was the beginning. I started working at 17, daytime shifts at a bookstore, night classes in architecture and business. I told people my name was Zoya to avoid questions. I devoured books like they were weapons: law, real estate, contracts, human behavior, psychology, everything that could help me build something better, something that couldn't be torn down by lies. I built a business from scratch, small renovations at first, then interior design, then real estate consulting.
I reinvested every rupee I made. I hired women like me, strong, underestimated, hungry. And soon, people began to notice. Not me. I stayed behind the scenes. But the work. My brand became known for integrity, for results, for beauty. Years later, I discovered my uncle had expanded his company using the fortune he stole. He wore suits tailored in Italy, threw parties for politicians, and built statues of himself in public parks. But I also saw the cracks: unpaid loans, abandoned projects, lawsuits he managed to keep quiet. That's when I made my move. Using a pseudonym, I reached out to his suppliers. I offered better deals. I offered fairness. I won them over. I found former employees he'd fired unfairly, hired them. I bought his debt anonymously. Piece by piece, I bought the very foundation he stood on. He never saw it coming. And then came the day. I walked into his office, the one he once took from my father, with legal documents in hand. I wore black, not because I was mourning, because I was making a statement. My company had now absorbed his. Every property, every vehicle, every share transferred. He looked up at me, confused. "You look familiar," he said. I smiled. "I should," I replied. "You destroyed my family." Silence. His face turned pale. His hands trembled. "I'm Zara," I said. "Daughter of the man you betrayed." He couldn't speak. I didn't need him to. I had already won. I left his office without looking back. That night, I brought my father the company documents. He cried for the first time in years, not out of pain, but pride. My mother lit a deer and said, "Now the house has light again." Zian hugged me tighter than ever before. We didn't get our old life back. We got something better: power, peace, and purpose. Now, I share this story not for sympathy or fame, but for everyone who has ever been broken, blamed, or betrayed. You don't have to scream to fight. You don't have to burn bridges to win. You can rise, quietly, fiercely, beautifully, and let your success be the revenge. So if you're still watching, don't skip this. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, like this video, and share it with someone who needs to be reminded. You are not finished yet. And the moral of the story: never underestimate the power of a broken soul determined to heal. Let your silence echo louder than their lies. Let your wins write the ending they never saw coming. And remember, revenge doesn't have to be ugly. Sometimes it's the most elegant story ever told.